Um, Obviously, the first day of practice, number one concern is no injuries. And we got through it pretty good. I thought it was a spirited practice for the most part, but there's a long way to go. Just from afar looking at our football team, we've got some size. I know that. We've got some length. That's interesting because that's what we've always talked about here at certain positions. So that's kind of fun to see when you just watch them on the grass when they line up. But I thought their intent was good. There'll probably be a lot of things we have to do. Offenses always struggle versus defenses first couple practices because they're behind. And obviously ours is a little bit behind in the fact that it's a new system with some new players implemented in that system that we're not here in the spring. So you can anticipate that a little bit. But I thought it was pretty competitive as a practice. I thought the players did a good job of being able to adjust in practice. We were worried about the rain and the lightning, so we moved some periods together so we could get the 11-on-11 periods competition out of the way. And then we came back after you guys left. We had about 2 more periods of special teams and another period. But we just felt like we wanted to get the team stuff all done. So first day wasn't bad. Now we got to start improving, and that's the whole key. Every day get a little bit better.
Coach Michael Carasino, Sideline Sports. You talk about obviously the length at some positions, but it looked like at corner too. Yes, they have to be able to run, as we know, but the advantage to having those lengthy, taller corners?
Smaller windows for the quarterback to throw it in. You know, it's all about the windows on defense. How do you close the window? And the more length you have the opportunity to make the windows a little tighter. You know, when I played in the league, and I know it's a long time ago, we played with face masks, and I was considered a big corner. Right, I was a big corner, you know, and I've always liked just big guys because it just takes up more room when you drop in zones. You know, when your arm length along with your size, it just becomes a different hurdle and a different window for that quarterback to throw it in. You know, and when you have guys at length and we play so much man-to-man and we're up there pressed, when the ball is thrown, that's the hardest one to defend, is the ball that the corner can't see come out of his hand because his back is turned. When I'm running and I'm covering a guy, I don't see that ball, and my length will help me. I mean, a guy could have a step on you, but if you have length, you can make up for it, and we saw that today a couple times. Some good plays by corners. In fact, their length knocked the ball away. So I like it, no doubt.
And then to follow up, to piggyback on the other side of that, how much is that going to benefit the quarterbacks as camp and the season goes on?
Well, a lot, because I think since we've been here, we played pretty good defense. Last year, our defense was pretty good. And some of those players are back. And I told the offensive guys that today. I said, look now, this defense better be ahead of you guys. If not, shame on us, right? Because we have some guys that have come back. But you got to know that it's going to be tough sledding here the first couple of days. And it's always hard for the offense. They play with the ball. Defense is see ball, go get ball. You know, the offense, they got to play with the ball. They got to do all that. The guys got to block guys. They got to throw the ball. They got to hand the ball. It's different. When you don't play with the ball, all you got to do is say, ball's height, see ball, get ball, right? It's different, and so defenses generally are a little bit ahead of offenses. And when you trying to do what we're doing on offense, whole new offense, different players, different quarterbacks right now in the lineup, it'll all work its way out. We'll be fine.
Herm, you mentioned avoiding injuries. It seems like you have basically everyone out there participating. And what's it like, kind of getting into a season where you aren't wondering about certain guys and where they're at?
No, you make a great point, and at certain positions we can't afford injury because we're thin. You know, a couple of positions, and you guys are well aware of that. And you guys have come to practice, you can tell, and you've been following this team, so you know what those positions are. I'm not going to make it public. It's not my statement to do, but I think when you have a healthy team and the way we're going about practicing is a little bit different, kind of what we did in the spring. Tomorrow basically is a practice, but it's a walkthrough. And you probably say, why are we doing that? Well, it's about reps, it's about teaching, but it's about also slowing them down. And I think by the 5th practice, then we start putting some back to back, I want to get them into, into practice shape. They're in conditioning shape, and you see this in the NFL. Your first day of practice, you're like, boy, can we get through this? We've saw some injuries already. It's a different mentality than working out, and all of a sudden now you're competing, right? And your body's in different positions because now it's about the competition, right? And guys get hurt, and you worry about that the first couple of days. If you can get through that little period, then you feel like, all right, we're okay now. And so it's always interesting the first couple of days of practice.
Hey, Coach, Merlin's been here for a while at linebacker,
has.
so have you seen him kind of take the next step from last season to today?
Well, obviously a team leader and just recruiting him as a freshman. He's a father, the husband, and a really good husband too, and a good father. And just watching him mature and watching how he's changed his body. You look at him now, wow. He can be in one of those magazines, where you can flex. And not saying that but he was a little, but now you look at him and go, ooh, he's all lean, cut up, looks good, he always looked good, he's a handsome guy, but his body's changed, and I don't want anybody to say, well, Coach, I'm just saying his body changed, right? And it's just maturity, and I think, he's a guy that has aspirations to play at the next level, and he watched a lot of his teammates that basically left, that he could have left. But I think he thought, I need to play one more year and get some more good stuff on tape. So I'm glad he's back because he's played a lot of football games for us. And he is a playmaker. He always has made plays since he's been here. Even as a freshman, I can remember him. He's always makes a play or two, right? So it's good to have him here.
Michelle Gardner, Arizona Republic. Coach, your take on Case Hatch. Obviously, he's kind of the perfect guy for a fullback and what he brings to this team.
Yeah, well, toughness, leadership. Here's another guy that was a walk-on and earned a scholarship. We had two guys last year, or we gave in the spring B.J. Green and our runner scholarships. We gave Elijah Gammage a scholarship today, and he's been a walk-on guy. His brother was here as a wide receiver, and he earned a scholarship, and now he's with San Francisco with my good friend John Lynch over there working with those guys. And Elijah Gammage earned a scholarship today. So it was fun to see the room last night get excited about that, right? And that's always fun, and we've been fortunate enough to do that. When I first got here, we understood about walk-on guys, and when they can earn a scholarship, it's just fun when you see their faces and how the team lights up, right? So, yeah, that's what it looks like.
Hey, Coach Robbie with Fox 10. Just curious, now that camp is here, what you're hoping to see from the quarterbacks as they look to separate themselves in that battle?
That it happens quickly. I want competition, but, some decisions are going to have to be made because you can't keep rotating quarterbacks. You got to figure out who's the guy, and then what are the guys around him for the most part, And the thing we've always preached here is about competition. There's competition at the position, but eventually we'll have to make a decision. And when that happens, then we can say, okay, this is the guy. This is what it's going to look like with him playing quarterback. And the number two guy might be a different offense. I learned that with my first job with the Jets. I had Vinny Testaverde, and Vinny Testaverde at his age could still throw the ball through this wall, right? He had a powerful arm, and he wanted to throw it downfield. But then I had the other guy after him was Chad Pennington, and Chad Pennington was a lot like Joe Montana, very accurate, threw it to the window before the guy got there. So the offense changed a little bit because we had to, build it a little bit more for Chad when he became the guy. So I think you have to be flexible enough to have an offense that can do that.
And just wondering, too, the first day with over 40 new players on the roster, how unique of an experience that is.
You see this right here? This is the scorecard. There's all the new players, and I kind of look over, well, that's that guy. Like the fans that come to me, I'm like, oh, I got a number. Said, oh, yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah, that's that guy. Okay. It's fun. And it's fun to watch them compete. And I think for a lot of them that weren't involved in the spring, to get through today is going to help them now. because you always have this anxiety. What does practice look like, right? And I always tell them, I said, we practice like professional football players. That's what we try to do. We say that we're the pro model. We try to do everything that they do, so they have a feel for it. And they might have been somewhere else and practice different, and that's okay. But this is the way we practice. And I think the thing that shocks them is that we're not out there for 3 hours. We're just not. And I've never done that, wherever I've been, even in professional football. So I just think there's a way you go about doing it. You try to be efficient, but you always want to put anxiety on them and put a strain on them that it happens fast, because that's the game of football. Now I came up with this, and you guys probably heard it. Probably, what is that? Is the fire engine, right? Well, that as you change periods, there's always a lag, because the whistle blows and the horn blows, and they go, oh, I got to go to period 6. So now what I'm doing is giving them a 1-minute warning. So when you hear the fire engine, you go, oh, I got to end the period. Because coaches get long, they lose sight of the time in the period, And so now the fire engine goes off. Oh, I got a minute to get to the next play. Because I don't want them meandering around. I just want them to always know, hey, man, we got to get to the next period. Because that's football. It changes within 4-6 seconds. A snap can change the whole structure of which is what happened. Defense has to go on the field. Oh, defense has intercepted the ball. Offense has to go on the field. Oh, we just threw a long pass. We're on the 1-yard line. All that stuff happens. It's organized chaos, and I think the more you can put that on players and coaches in practice, the better outcome you'll have in the game. That's just what I believe.
Herm, you added a few new receivers, including Cam Johnson from Vanderbilt, but Zeke is not as well known, and also Charles Hall. So what do you think they bring to the fold?
Well, the Vanderbilt kid, obviously a lot of experience, played in a big-time conference. Hall obviously can run. He runs fast. He makes my feet hurt. He runs fast, But it's just now figuring out what they do well, especially Hall. How are we going to use him? Because he can threaten you vertically. There's no doubt about it. And he's got to build on him where he's going to be hard to tackle, I think, if he gets the ball in his hand. He's not a slight guy. He's like, okay. And so it's going to be interesting just to watch how Glenn figures this all out. Where do we use that guy? And then I think we got some pretty good tight ends, too. Big. We're going to use those guys, too. And then the runner, got a couple runners. One is interesting. He's kind of interesting. It'll be fun to watch him when we get past him. All of them, but it'll be fun to watch the offense, how it grows.
So what's it feel like when so many of these new guys are going to be heavily relied upon?
I think it's no different than when we first got here and we said, hey, there's this guy named Black and Merlin, and they're freshmen, and we're going to start them. And everybody looked at us and said, you going to start 2 freshmen? Yeah, we're going to play them. Turned out okay. So I don't worry about that. I can't. You play your best players. You can't say, well, I got to wait. I learned that a long time ago. Only way you get experience is play. And there's going to be some moments, oh moments, yeah. But hopefully there's some, got it. Right. So, and that's the nature of coaching, we all understand.
You mentioned the only way you get experience is to play, and Dick Vermeil obviously gave you that experience. What is it going to be like watching him go in the Hall of Fame this weekend?
It's hard for me not to be there. It really is. I actually had planned on going, and this is a tough one for me. That guy was like a father to me. Yeah, I've known him since I was 17 years old. And so for him to finally get in, it's like we're so excited that that team, and I'm not a big text guy, a big social media guy, but there's about 20, 25 of us that talk all the time, right? And they're going. They're probably going to get there tomorrow. It's going to be a heck of a party for 2 days. I'm going to kind of zoom in and just look at them. But they know I got to do this, and I'm going to talk to Coach, obviously, and wish him much success. But he's a guy that you love playing for. Coach Vermeil and my high school coach, he called me yesterday, 92 years old. Calls me every year before football season starts. just remember those guys. And a lot of things I learned about football, those two gentlemen were big in my life, right? Especially Coach, because a father died my first year in the league, and that was hard for me. And I needed somebody like him to help me to get through that, right? And we still talk. We've talked ever since 1977 when he gave me an opportunity to be a starter in the National Football League to right now. We had never lost a beat. So it's a great moment for the Hall of Fame to get him in there, and it's a great moment for that Eagle team, for all those players that played for him.
Jordan, last question.
Coach Jordan Ham, Sports 360 AZ. For Elijah Gammage, what was his reaction getting that scholarship presented to him
It was
today?
the reaction, not only him, but the team. How excited they were, and he couldn't be more grateful, of the opportunity. And he's been here a long time, and he's just kind of worked his tail off, and it was just, the team was excited. The fun part about that is when the team gets so excited, right? And they're jumping up and down, and obviously he thanked me, and he thanked Ray and everyone else that were involved in all this stuff, but well-deserved, And then today, he's out there making plays like he's an all-star. That's because he's all excited. I'm a scholarship guy now, and I get it. I mean, I get it. Being a scholarship guy, to me, it's just like being a free agent in the National Football League, right? There was a reason I didn't get drafted. I know why. I know why. And somebody gave me a chance, and that's all I wanted. And from that day, I never missed a start, never missed a practice, and that's my story. But somebody needed to give me an opportunity, and it was Coach Ramil. And I trusted him probably more than the other coaches that wanted me to come to their team. I trusted him because I knew him. And he looked me in the eye and said, hey, I'm going to give you every opportunity to make this football team. And I looked back at him and I said, I don't want to make the team. I got to start, Coach. I'm coming here to start. I'm not here to make the team, right? And he gave me a chance. Killed me in the preseason because he never took me out. So I played a lot of preseason games. It was 6 back in those days. But you didn't know any better. It like 6 preseason games, that's what it was, right? And it was only, 14 regular season games. It was six big preseason games. People look at you like, 6 of them. I have 6. There were 6 of them. And so he got me ready to be a professional football player during the preseason because he said, you're going to stay in the game. You're not coming out. Stay out there for a while. Learn how to play football. So can't thank him enough for that.
So do you see a little bit of Elijah in that
Elijah
scenario?
is a very smart player, and he's always been around the football. He can do that. He's been great for us on special teams. We rotate guys. We rotate a lot of positions. In the secondary, a lot of guys play. He'll find his niche in there. There's a lot of competition, though. There's a lot of safeties all of a sudden. We brought in 2 more safeties, so there's competition. One of the Markham twins is there as well, so we've got some guys there. So he'll find his niche on this team, and right now he's a core special teams guy, right? But we can plug him in because he's a guy, he can go in the game. Trust him, he'll go in the game.